All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, I want you to picture something for a second. Imagine stumbling across a hidden monument right here in Britain that is actually older than Stonehenge. And not just older, we're talking about something so enormous that even today, literally thousands of years after it was put up, it still towers over the buildings around it. We aren't talking about a massively heavily trafficked tourist trap here, we are talking about a completely hidden gem. Today, we are exploring the awe-inspiring Rudston Monolith, Britain's forgotten prehistoric giant.
When we talk about ancient British monuments, Stonehenge absolutely steals the spotlight, right? It draws millions of visitors. But if we're looking at sheer, singular scale, well, the quiet, kind of unassuming Rudston Monolith over in East Yorkshire completely takes the crown. For more than 4,500 years, this giant stone has watched civilizations rise and fall. Kings have come and gone, entirely new empires have disappeared, yet this incredible monolith remains exactly where prehistoric people placed it. Less famous? Absolutely. But as we're going to see, it is no less remarkable.
Part 1. The what? Discovering Britain's tallest stone. To really wrap our heads around the physical reality of this ancient relic, we just need to look at its sheer height. It is 7.6 meters. That's roughly 25 feet, pointing straight up into the sky. Just visualize that for a second. It is literally taller than a standard two-story house, just sitting there proudly in this peaceful little churchyard. But actually, hold on, that's not even the whole story. To stabilize a rock of that insane height, the ancient builders couldn't exactly just rest it on the grass, right? Archaeologists believe there's another 3 meters buried deep underground just to anchor it securely. So when you add the whole thing up, the entire stone is over 10 meters long. And that brings us to the weight. 40 tons. 40 tons of solid gritstone. That official measurement makes it the absolute tallest standing stone in all of Britain. Now, here's the wild part. Gritstone doesn't even naturally occur in Rudston. The closest source is miles and miles away, which means prehistoric builders purposely transported this massive block across the landscape. No delivery trucks, no paved roads, just raw, back-breaking human effort. Part 2. The how, engineering the impossible. Okay, moving a 40-ton block of stone across miles of rough terrain is hard enough today. But how on earth did Bronze Age communities engineer this without engines, wheels, or, steel tools? Well, it's like a giant puzzle. And the journey of this colossal stone actually spans entirely different eras. Mother Nature did the initial heavy lifting. Ice Age glaciers literally dragged this gritstone south thousands of years ago. Fast forward to the Bronze Age, and ancient communities find this massive boulder. And instead of just leaving it there, they decide to move it. The result? It's still standing exactly where they left it, 4,500 years later. So how exactly did they do it? Well, entire communities had to team up using really simple but incredibly effective technology. We're talking massive wooden sledges, incredibly thick ropes made purely from woven natural fibers, and a clever system of wooden rollers. To move this 40-ton giant across the landscape, hundreds of people would have had to haul it all at the exact same time. This wasn't some quick afternoon job. This was a grueling journey that likely took weeks, maybe even months, of coordinated community effort. And honestly, getting it there was only half the battle. How do you stand a 40-ton rock straight up? Well, it required a really precise blueprint. Step 1, dig a massive, deep pit. Step 2, carefully lower the heavy base of the stone right into that hole. Step 3, using this huge network of ropes and wooden supports, the community slowly, gradually pulls the monument upright. And finally, step 4, once it's standing, they pack that pit densely with stones and earth to lock it in place. And they engineered it so perfectly, so securely, that it has survived over 4 millennia of intense storms, frost, and even earthquakes. Crazy, right? Part 3. The why. Sacred grounds and folklore. Now that we kind of grasped the mind-boggling physical effort this took, we really have to ask why. Why was this specific, quiet location chosen as a sacred site over 4.5 millennia ago? Since these ancient builders didn't exactly leave us an instruction manual, archaeologists have proposed a few really fascinating theories. It might have marked sacred ceremonial grounds. Others think it was a central meeting place for communities to get together for seasonal festivals and rituals. Some even suggest it acted as a giant territorial landmark, visible from miles away to mark a boundary. And, of course, astronomers have looked into possible alignments with the sun, very much like Stonehenge.
Because the true purpose was lost to time and later generations had literally zero knowledge of prehistoric engineering, well, folklore naturally filled the void. There's this great local legend that claims the devil himself threw the giant stone at the villagers, though apparently he had really terrible aim. Other myths say supernatural beings just dropped it there overnight. But honestly, the reality is far more awe-inspiring, isn't it? Hundreds of ordinary humans armed with nothing but wood, rope, and extraordinary determination engineered a monument that completely defied time. I absolutely love this quote because it beautifully highlights the deep historical layering here at Rudston. Centuries after the monolith went up, Christianity arrived. But instead of tearing down or destroying the ancient pagan monument, early Christian builders intentionally built their Norman church right next to it, almost in its shadow. They transformed an existing place of worship into a new one. Two entirely different religions, separated by thousands of years, choosing to share the exact same sacred ground. And the best part? The story is still unfolding today. Modern archaeologists are using incredible tools like ground-penetrating radar. Basically, this tech lets scientists literally see beneath the nearby fields without digging up a single shovelful of dirt. And what they're finding is just amazing. Hidden prehistoric burial mounds and ancient earthworks completely surrounding the monolith. It tells us this stone wasn't just some random pillar. It was likely the centerpiece of a massive, vitally important prehistoric ceremonial complex. Which really brings us to a profound pivot point. When you stand at the base of this 40-ton giant and just trace your eyes 25 feet up to its peak, you kind of have to ask yourself, why build something to last forever? What drives a community with no modern tools to devote months of their lives to organizing workforces, planning the engineering, and executing a vision of this magnitude?
Part 4. The Legacy, an enduring ancient mystery.
The legacy of the Rudston Monolith proves that prehistoric Britain was incredibly sophisticated. I mean, they understood complex construction, they understood large-scale project management, yet they left no written records, no names of the architects, no explanations of their gods, just a colossal stone pointing to the sky that has outlived empires they couldn't possibly have imagined. As we wrap up this explainer, we know the what, and we have a pretty solid grasp on the how. But perhaps its greatest mystery really isn't how it was built, but why people devoted so much effort to creating something meant to endure forever. And as long as Britain's tallest standing stone remains pointing toward the clouds, I think that question is going to continue to inspire our wonder. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep your curiosity sharp, and I'll catch you next time.